Sunjin arrived with Minsu at his place and took her to his room. He didn't like seeing her like that. Seeing her sad was the last thing he wanted. He wished he could have protected her from the journalists sooner. He started wiping her face, telling her that he was there now and that no one was going to hurt her again. Minsu, still traumatized from the whole situation, didn't know what to say. Sunjin couldn't help himself. He pulled her into his arms and comforted her. He gave her his t-shirt and told her to take a shower and get changed. Sunjin was in the kitchen making soup for Minsu since she had been exposed to the cold. His butler walked in, shocked to see him cooking, something he had never done before. The butler asked him what was going on, but Sunjin told him to take the day off. The butler, confused, thanked him and walked out. Minsu walked into the kitchen and watched Sunjin as he cooked. Even though she was still traumatized, she couldn't stop thinking about how cute he looked. Sunjin told her that he had put away both her phone and his, and that he wanted them to simply enjoy the moment together, away from the outside noise, and that they could talk about everything the next day. Minsu smiled and agreed. They both sat by the dining table, and Sunjin fed Minsu the soup he had made. He told her she needed to take it so she wouldn't catch a cold. Realizing how caring he was, Minsu thanked him. Later that night, they cuddled on the couch and watched a movie together. Being together in that moment made it seem as if nothing else mattered. Sunjin looked at her and asked if she regretted being with him. Minsu told him she didn't, and that he was the best thing that had ever happened to her. Smiling, Sunjin admitted that he didn't want to lose her, and that he wished they could have at least gotten the chance to spend more time together and enjoy each moment before things started going the way they had. Minsu told him they could take this chance to do so. Sunjin agreed and pulled her into his arms. He couldn't believe how much he loved her, how a total stranger who had happened to walk into his life one day had become the most important thing in his world. He kissed her forehead gently. Minsu couldn't help but blush. Just feeling his touch and his kiss gave her butterflies in her stomach. She thought about the kiss they had shared earlier. Even though it was unexpected, she couldn't stop thinking about it. It felt good to her to have someone protect her and fight for her in that way. They both fell asleep holding each other on the couch, as if they didn't want to let each other go. The next morning, Sunjin was sitting in his big, fancy dining room, having breakfast with Minsu. He asked if she liked the clothes he had gotten for her, explaining that he had sent his assistant to pick something up since her dress from the day before had been ruined. Minsu told him she liked the outfit and that it fit her perfectly. Sunjin looked at her, realizing they needed to start talking about what had happened the night before. Even though he didn't want to, he knew it was important. He asked Minsu if she had seen the pictures and videos circulating on the internet. Minsu said no. Sunjin told her to look now. As she went through her phone, looking at the news, her face changed. She was more upset about the negative things people were saying about her. Sunjin held her hand and told her that he knew this would happen eventually, and that he would protect her with everything he had. Minsu looked at him, wondering how things had escalated so quickly. She had lost her best friend, and now her face was all over the news. Sunjin told her that Kim had blackmailed him, threatening to post their pictures first, so he had no choice but to do what he did. He explained that if Kim had posted the pictures, it would have seemed as if Minsu had been chasing him. But his public act of kissing her clarified that he was the one who loved her and had pursued her. Minsu was mostly hurt by the fact that someone she had called a friend would do that to her. She wondered how much Kim must have loved Sunjin to resort to hurting her like that. Minsu returned to school, sitting in her room and realizing that Kim had actually blocked her on everything. She didn't want their friendship to end that way, especially because of a guy. Sunjin had told her to lay low for a bit until he solved everything, which meant taking days off work. Sunjin walked into his office to find his father waiting for him. He had known his father would come eventually. His father was watching the video of Sunjin and Minsu on his tablet, and he was furious.